Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
In our recent episodes, we talked about cultivating awareness. We talked about the case for reducing suffering. And a big part of that conversation has to speak to an underlying truth that's very mushy. Folks don't necessarily want to hear this. But the reality is your entire experience is that it's yours. You have, there is no other sort of prevailing information, right? The world's going to be arising and happening around you. This is a normal thing. But you cannot be aware of all knowledge at all times. You cannot be aware of all of the things that are happening. It becomes your quest as a man to try and find out the relevant information that you need in order to inform your behavior in a way that improves outcomes. What this really means is, in many ways, there is almost no external information that's going to matter. If I gave you a book that it contained the entire mechanics of how the universe operates, including all of the laws of physics and all of the unanswered questions that are currently floating about in the scientific community, it doesn't matter if the book is correct. It doesn't matter if the book is perfect in its sort of execution as a book. You are still required to internalize that information and process it in your own way in order to make it effective. What that really means is, like I started with, your world is yours. You have to take information into it, process it, and use it to inform your behavior. In a lot of ways, this plays complete disregard to ideas of facts and objectivity and objective reality. And there's some real meaningful sort of questions about this. Your physiology itself is super responsive to your psychology. You literally will not see certain things that you don't want to see. And I say literally, I mean literally, not the modern interpretation, which also means figuratively. There are some direct relationships between your psychology and your physiology that are hardwired. And I want to chase that for too long, but rest assured, this understanding of reality is just that. It's an understanding, and it is a cultivating process for your mind. This is entirely subjective. And that's awful to say, because a lot of folks are going, well, if it's entirely subjective, then, this leads me down a path of, can I fly? And no, you can't fly. This isn't Space Wizard Boot Camp. You're not going to learn how to shoot fireballs. When we talk about subjectivity being the only sort of real thing, that's not denying that objective reality exists. But if you are unwilling to recognize it, right? Yes, you can still get run over. Yes, it doesn't. Not believing the truck is there does not mean the truck's not there. At the same time, you get to choose how it informs your behavior, right? You get to choose in many ways whether or not you jump out of the way. And so with that in mind, the subjective approach and understanding your subjective world is really vital to the sort of process and the mission here, which means you should spend a ton of time, particularly if you're a younger man, learning how you learning how you solve problems, identifying the sort of meta conversation about how you work in the world and how you process these things, this reality, whatever you want to call it, becomes really important to learn, because there will be times when you need to learn a thing, and if you don't know how you learn, that's a problem, right? There's no objective system out there where you're going to pick this up and automatically be able to apply it. And again, this gets back to one of the things you'll find a lot of guys do when they're young and they're trying to figure things out is they'll go read yet like 30 or 40 books on a subject. And I love the notion that you're going to do that, but you still have to process that knowledge in a way that informs your behavior, or it doesn't matter if you've read them or not. So this again takes us back full circle. To reduce suffering, you need to understand yourself. To understand yourself, you need to gain awareness. To gain awareness, you have to process information, and the best sort of way to learn how to do that is understand the meta process for how you work. And how you work is different than how I work. So you should spend some time figuring that out. And I'd love to hear and start collecting stories, and we'll put them out on the blog of how your brain works and how your sort of cognitive process works, because there is recurring sort of themes and trends, and you might be able to help others reduce their suffering by sharing what you know.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at amasonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.